Okay, so you guys know that the trial of Derek Chauvin has been completed. I believe that there were 3 counts. We have the jury's verdict. So we're going to go through this, and we're going to go through all 3 charges, and we're going to basically, we're going to go through them. You know what I'm saying? Sorry, I'm a little burnt out. Very, very, very loaded day today, so excuse my lack of professionalism. Chauvin, Derek Chauvin, whatever. I don't. You know what I'm saying.
All rise for the jury. All right, please be seated.
Sure, it's very low, but there's nothing I can do about it. Sorry, guys.
Members of the jury, I understand you have a verdict. Members of the jury, I will now read the verdicts as they will appear in the permanent records of the 4th Judicial District. State of Minnesota, County of Hennepin, District Court, 4th Judicial District. State of Minnesota Plaintiff versus Derek Michael Chauvin, Defendant. Verdict, Count 1. Court File Number 27, CR 20-12646. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to Count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April, 2021.
So, which one was I believe?
In the above entitled matter as to Count 1, unintentional second-degree murder while committing a felony, find the defendant guilty.
Okay, so let's first start with that, the unintentional second-degree murder. So a lot of people are having an issue with this situation because the unintentional murder, what you have to do is that the prosecutors have to show that Derek Chauvin, I don't really know how to say his name. I don't really care, to be honest with you. Was trying to commit a felony. Now, a lot of people are saying that that means that you have to provide or prove intent to actually kill. However, they didn't actually have to do that. They had to show that Derek, that the police officer intended to apply unlawful force that caused bodily harm. Also, for context, they didn't actually have to prove that the only reason George Floyd died was because of the 9 minutes on his neck. They just had to prove that it was a big factor in it, basically. We know that there may have been a factor of the drugs also, the drugs may have also been a profound factor, but the reality is that kneeling on someone's neck for 9 minutes in an unlawful way, and with excessive force, which is what I personally would consider it, that was a massive contributing factor. For instance, let's say that you just had the heart condition and you weren't on drugs at all, and they kneeled on your neck, and a healthy person wouldn't have died. It doesn't matter. You understand what I'm saying? I know I'm explaining myself horribly, but realistically speaking, those are all factors. And if you're using excessive force and because of other factors somebody dies, you're still a big part of that. Right? It's similar to, like, let's say that you have, I'll actually use a personal instance. So one of my partners has fibromyalgia. It's an autoimmune disease that makes her in a lot of pain. So she's constantly in pain, like in her joints and her muscles and whatnot. And so we were hit by a car once, not like a massive hit. We were rear-ended. I was sore for a few weeks. She had to go to the hospital. And now you could say, well, if she didn't have fibromyalgia, she wouldn't have been so fucked up by the car accident. Well, that doesn't really matter. You shouldn't have hit the person, right? It's a similar thing. Like, let's say that sounds crazy. Let's say you were just like chewing on your tongue in the car while you're driving like this, like, and somebody hits you and you bite your own tongue off. Is it your fault for getting your tongue bit off, or is it someone else's fault for hitting you? There's a lot of factors in this situation. Now, based on that, I think that the first count is reasonable, that he got charged on, unintentional second-degree murder. So,
this verdict agreed to this 20th day of April, 2021 at 1:44 p.m. Signed, juror foreperson, juror number 19. Same caption, verdict count 2. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 2, third-degree murder, perpetrating an eminently dangerous act, find the defendant guilty. This verdict...
That's right. So the third-degree murder charge. So they had to find that the act was eminently dangerous and carried out with reckless disregard for consciousness, indifference to loss of life. Yeah, I mean, I don't really see that as a misplay. That sounds perfectly reasonable to me.
Agreed to this 20th day of April, 2021 at 1:45 p.m. Signed by jury foreperson, juror number 19. Same caption, verdict count 3. We, the jury, in the above entitled matter as to count 3, second-degree manslaughter, culpable negligence, creating an unreasonable risk, find the defendant guilty. This verdict agreed to this 20th day of April, 2021 at 1:45 p.m.
Yeah, sounds perfectly reasonable. Yeah, I mean, I'm not disagreeing with any of these charges. Absolutely. What this police officer did was gross negligence in every capacity. And this is a police officer. When it comes to being a police officer, you really don't get to make mistakes. And we need to carry ourselves as such, because there are mistakes and then there is negligence. This isn't even like a mistake, right? This isn't a mistake. This is gross negligence. I don't think that any reasonably minded person would ever think that it was appropriate to kneel on somebody for almost 10 minutes. I don't think any of you would ever do it in real life. Like, some of you will defend the cop, but you wouldn't do that in real life. So it's interesting that people try to defend it. Now, I do understand that this situation is very politically charged. I'm not a law expert. Maybe if this wasn't so politically motivated, these charges wouldn't have been so intense. But maybe they wouldn't have been so intense in an unreasonable way. You understand what I'm saying? It's hard to say because of how many variables. Maybe if this wasn't in the public eye, it would have just gotten dismissed. Maybe if it wasn't in the public eye, he would have got lesser charges that would be more deserved. I don't really know. This seems perfectly reasonable to me. I understand that there would be riots if this didn't go through. I understand people are latching on to this. And you could maybe make an argument that he's getting too harsh of a punishment. But these are law enforcement officers. And I think that when we defend gross negligence from bad police officers, it makes the good ones look bad. There absolutely are many more good police officers than bad police officers. But when we defend every bad action of these bad police officers, they get pushed into the forefront. Perfectly fine with this person going away for life. Yeah.
Jury foreperson 019. Members of the jury, I'm now going to ask you individually if these are your true and correct verdicts. Please respond yes or no.
I think we got
juror number
pretty much.
2, are these your true and correct verdicts?
I believe it was pretty much everybody was unanimously. I think each charge carries 25 to 40 years.
And the defendant is remanded to the custody of the...
Yeah, so now here's the thing that bothers me here is Nancy Pelosi's response to it. There's a lot going into the George Floyd situation. George Floyd very clearly wasn't a model citizen. I think we understand that. However, police officers' jobs are to do to the best of their ability to restrain somebody and take them in so that the court system can deal with that person. As a police officer, you are simply an enforcer of the law and a protector of the people. And by utilizing gross negligence, you are neither of those things. Derek Chauvin, or Chauvin, whatever, is not a police officer in those senses at all, and he deserves to be in jail. However, I don't know that this is exactly the best situation. This just seems so tone deaf. What happened to George Floyd was a tragedy. The guy was killed due to police negligence. But this just feels very inappropriate. We'll just listen to it.
Out to your mom. Thank you, George Floyd, for sacrificing your life for justice.
right off the bat, very uncomfortable with that. Sacrificing your life for justice. I don't like the framing of that. It makes it seem like he wanted to die. I don't know. The framing is bizarre and heroic. George Floyd wasn't a hero. George Floyd was a troubled individual due to probably a lot of systemic issues that ended up becoming a martyr for the BLM group simply because anytime any story gets attention, BLM needs to jump on it to gain some traction so that they can highlight the very specific issues that Black people have, especially impoverished Black people when it comes to police officers. But this framing makes me very uncomfortable. It sounds very disconnected. I don't particularly care for it. I think that when you frame George Floyd as a hero, he is a martyr, but when you frame him as a hero and you don't really, it just pulls away from the complexities of the situation. And I think that it causes people who are more common sense minded to turn away from the progressive framing of it. I just, it just seems very poor. I don't know.
For being there to call out to your mom. How heartbreaking was that? Call out
It just seems like such a virtue signal from Nancy Pelosi.
for your mom. I can't breathe. But because of you and because of thousands, millions of people around the world who came out for justice, your name will always be synonymous with justice. Thank you, George Floyd.
Jesus Christ. That was a rough take. And she's getting deserved backlash. It's just so devoid. Listen, if I was going to sit here and give you a quick public statement, I'd say today justice was served. This is what I would probably say. I would say that today justice was served. I can't even speak. Sorry. I would say that today justice was served. And while George Floyd may not have been a model citizen, nobody who commits a crime, people who commit a crime are entitled to due process in the United States of America. And Derek Chauvin robbed him of the opportunity to receive court justice. Something along those lines. This is a virtue signal. This is everybody on the left, love me please. It's a pander. I don't like it. I think it's disgusting. Hey everyone, if you liked that video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And don't forget to follow my Twitch, Instagram, Twitter, Discord, and TikTok. All links are in the description. Also, check out my Patreon if you'd like to support me even more than you already do. Thank you so much, everyone. I love you all.